Hello everyone, today's October 6, 2010. Japan has announced that they're going on a spending spree. They're going to set aside 5 trillion yen that the central bank is going to basically grab out of thin air, and they're going to use the money to buy corporate bonds, government bonds, ETFs, and a string of other things, real estate, in order to prop up their economy. Now, the value of their currency has been rising, so they lowered interest rates to almost zero, and they're going to be expanding their balance sheet by buying all these things, and so you'd think that the value of the currency going up would be good for the citizens, which it is. But with other countries and U.S. with the reserve currency devaluing their currencies, this makes their currency more expensive, and their exports are more expensive. So at the expense of their citizens through inflation, they're going to be devaluing their currency. Obama and Bernanke a few days ago came out and said that if we don't get our debt in order, start doing something about the massive debt in this country, that we're going to be screwed, basically. Well, we're running like $1.6 trillion deficits under the Obama administration. Bernanke, with the financial mess we had in 2008, expanded the Fed's balance sheet by $2 trillion. They're buying up all these bad housing loans. These guys have done more than anyone else to put the country further in debt. Now, yeah, it's nice of them to point out we need to do something about our debt, but no one's going to come step up to the plate, especially around election time. There's nobody that's going to come up and say, we need to do this, we need to do 1, 2, 3, I'm cutting these programs, I'm cutting 200 billion here, I'm cutting 100 billion here. Who's going to come out and say we're taking away this, that, and the other thing from you because we have to do this, or we're going to be collapsing in the end? Nobody wants to hear that. I mean, the politicians, they just want to say, we'll provide this, we'll provide this, we'll provide this, we'll print all the money to do it. There's nobody going to step forward and fix the problem. So, I believe ultimately we're going to have a hyperinflation situation where they're printing money to pay for everything, and prices are going to start increasing. Now, lately you see a lot of deflation going on. I think hyperinflation is the inflation is there. The banks are holding on to a lot of the money that they were given. They're not making loans, and we're going to see high levels of inflation at least, but we'll probably see hyperinflation. And the best way to prepare for that will be real money. Will be hard assets, silver and gold. And if you have other assets, housing prices should eventually rise as a result of this inflation. And anything anything that's a hard asset. And I recently also saw Geithner talk about trying to influence the Chinese on their monetary policies. Well, if everyone around the world was using real money rather than all this paper money and credit, you wouldn't have to be influencing other countries on what to do with their currency and their interest rates. I mean, I don't believe that human beings are smarter than a free market. A free market finds its prices over time, what people are willing to pay for things. I don't believe we can set interest rates and print money and, without, especially, people are greedy. By nature, there's a lot of fear and greed involved in situations, especially at high levels. And governments cannot be trusted to not overprint the money and to cause, a lot of inflation on the citizens through a hidden tax to steal their wealth. One last thing I wanted to mention today, I had a nice message from a guy I went to high school named Dave. He sent me a message saying he's been watching some of my videos, and he had some concerns about gold and silver maybe becoming something of like a vanity type thing in a situation where maybe guns and ammo and food would be your most important thing to have. Now, I agree with him that in an end of the world type situation, a total collapse, Mad Max type, I do believe, and I am preparing for that. I believe in preparing for the worst, and if it doesn't happen, then I'm fine, rather than not preparing at all and then being wiped out. So I agree with him that if things get real bad, which I hope they don't, that may be what you need most, is food supply and a way to protect yourself. Now, what I really feel is going to happen is that we're going to have a situation where we have like a currency collapse or a total economic collapse, but not to the point where it can't get fixed. I believe something else will in the interim, I think that you'll be able to use real money, gold and silver, to buy things when the paper is worthless, like the situation they had in Zimbabwe, where the $1 trillion paper note couldn't even buy you a pack of gum, and the Weimar Republic back in the 1920s, what happened in Germany. I feel we're going to have that type of situation with the hyperinflation. Now, if I'm wrong, hopefully sometime before the gold and silver would become useless, I could trade it, for some items of protection or food and stuff like that. But I really don't foresee the situation where we're not even going to be able to use anything for barter, or I don't know. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess the best way to do would be just to prepare with everything. I mean, you're not going to be hurt by having food supply and ways of protecting yourself, and by having gold and silver. I mean, gold and silver, if they become useless, I can't imagine, here's the bottom line for me, I can't imagine a situation where gold and silver have no value and paper money is where everybody's, puts the value. That's impossible. There's no way that paper money and credit or invisible money is going to have more value than hard assets.